Good day, Bob here at Weldnrust, and we're continuing on with the catwalk lid portion, whatever you want to call it, for the back of the Dodge. Yeah, we've got a lot of fabrication in store, so stick around.
Well, I hope you can excuse me for this slightly jiggly video. But what you see here is the tripod, which I usually use for holding the camera. And right now I need it for holding this up. We've got the panel on sawhorses on either side. But the problem is I wanted to get the curve, I don't know if you can see this, to get that bit of curve that I want in there, and to do that, that's what the tripod's for. Comes in awfully handy for that. These little blocks, well, buckets of nails, what they do is they add a bit of weight to the side, because if I don't have them there, this side wants to buckle up. There's probably some tension inside the panel itself, and that's why it wants to change shape. So to get the shape somewhat the same for both sides, that's what those are for. I wanted to put this panel up here because, as you can see, it is a compound curve this way with a bit of curve this way. But my plan is I'm going to make my filler piece first while this whole thing is one piece, because I got to be about 8 inches here wide and a little bit wider here. I'm just not sure where that's going to end up. Most of this might get cut away for all I know. I'll know more once I get it on the car. But it's going to go taper down to nothing here. But I need to make the panel first before I do any cutting here. All right, it's cutting time. I could use a cutoff wheel for this, but I got a new tool. I want to see how well it's going to work if I can actually do a straight line with it. That's going to be the trick. Can I keep my line straight? This isn't as critical, but I'll see how well it's going to follow the line. If it works good, we'll finish the rest of it. If not, I'll probably break down and use a cutoff wheel. We'll see. Okay, I'm going to say that works. If I was TIG welding it, it has to be perfect, but I know with this old steel, I think I'm more better off with the MIG. Any slight gaps, like we're talking like a 32nd of an inch or so, the MIG will work with it, but I want to try and keep things tight when I put it together. You'll see when we get to that point. Hope you noticed that when I was following along, I moved my hand back to hold the thing, knowing full well this was going to fall down otherwise. Hope that was a helpful tip. As you can see, when we did the cut with the shears, we induced a little bit of warpage, and I'm assuming this is on a microscopic scale. A bit of shrinking and stretching going on when we're doing that. So we got some warp in here. I'm not sure how critical that's going to be. I'm not even sure if I can actually straighten it. If I push down on it, I can get it to match the curve. Now I know when I weld it, it's going to start moving around a bit. How much warpage I'm going to get, I'm not sure. I've thought about English wheeling this thing, but the curve is so slight, I don't think I'm going to need to. There's definitely enough movement in it. I think we can deal with it. So my next plan of attack is when we cut along this line, I'm going to leave some spaces, stitches if you will, and to hold the thing together, because what I want to do afterwards is that way it can stay at one piece. I can flip the part over and block it out if I need to, and then finish those stitch cuts. This way it's basically in one piece when it's still on the floor. And then we can lay this thing in and try to get it to match up. This could be fun. Anyways, that's the next plan. I think you'll notice the change in a tire. I learned the hard way, grinding in shorts is generally not a good plan. See what happens when we flip this thing. You think after enough slices and gouges with metal I would learn. Always use gloves on this sharp stuff. Couple little slices inside, and then we'll see where we're at. Now I got the wonderful, not so fun part of wire brushing all this rust out of here. Makes it a little bit better for welding. What you see here is I've taken a filler piece and one of the side plates, side roof pieces, and I've just clamped them in a couple of spots. I'm gonna take a couple of tacks, move some clamps around, and add more tacks. We'll see how this fits together. I might have to do a bit of moving. I'm not sure how that's going to fit. We're going to find out when we get there. Anyways, it's welding time. I think I know one of the bigger problems. Underneath here is particle board. I don't think it likes the wood. It's coming back up with the heat. So I've got to put something else down here. Like normally I wasn't going to be worried about flame because there's not enough heat there to really cause a lot of spontaneous combustion. But I think the surface itself, with the heat, from the paint or whatever, is blasting up through and the welds are not liking that. So, give me a minute and we're going to fix it.
Turns out I had my solution sitting up against the wall. I got a chunk of 1/4-inch aluminum, fairly long. I was keeping it, keeping it for cutting up into other parts. I don't think I'm going to cut it up anytime soon because it's really handy as a backer for this. I think we're going to see if there's a difference. I cranked up the heat settings a little bit because the aluminum's actually going to work like a heat sink too, which will help for heat dissipation of the weld. World of difference. Yeah, a little lesson. Don't weld on wood. It may not spontaneously combust, but it's going to cause problems. Oh, love it. For those of you safety conscious people at home, yes, I'm not wearing a welding helmet, but I do know how to shut my eyes. Kind of important when doing this. Just in case you think I'm trying to weld without a welding helmet or trying to look what I'm doing, yeah, don't try that. Now this gets kind of interesting. I think because we've got curving here, this doesn't quite match up to what I was hoping to. I think I'm going to overlap it a hair and then bend it back. So I'll clamp in here. Now, if it's thin enough, I can bend this back to match. But I want to keep the gap a little tighter. Any little bits of buckling, I'm not going to get excited about it now. It's going to get ground once it's finished welded, and it's probably going to be a little bit wavy. I'll probably end up either hammer dolly or using the English wheel, power hammer, whatever, to get it back straight again. But just have to accept that with MIG welding. See, it's cold here now, so I'm not putting a lot of heat into the part, so I shouldn't get too much warping. But it's important to keep in mind that I can straighten it out after, and with the MIG, I probably have to do that. What I'm more concerned about is that the two panels aren't sitting like this, that they're actually sitting butted up and they're not doing any of this, because that's a lot harder to fix. And by the time you grind down, you won't have a whole lot left, so you don't want to have any of that if you can avoid it.
this is the more interesting part. I think I'm just gonna do like just a bit at a time. Yeah, this method is working because it seems to be now, the material seems to be able to follow along the line without going all over the place. So, looks like it's working. I'm not going to do this one. I'll straighten it out when I put the other piece together with it, and then I'll weld them both. Okay, that's it for this side. Looks like we're out of time for this one, and hopefully we'll be able to finish it on the next one. Anyways, have a good day, and we'll see you then. Bye for now.